Hi folks, David, that Norfolk guy in Dubai. In this video, I want to have a little talk about swapping your UK driving license for a Dubai driving license. Something that we did when we first moved over here, and it was really simple. And I think the thing that anybody coming over to Dubai, what you need to understand is that it makes things really easy and really simple to get things done. Everything takes way less time than the UK. The speed that they process things, the speed they do everything at, everything moves so much quicker over here, and that was certainly true of the process of swapping your driving license. So what do? Well, the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to the RTA website, and you need to complete the form to swap your driving license. It's really simple. You have to enter your Emirates ID, and you have to link it through your UAE Pass, which is like an app that you have on your phone, which is your digital ID over here. So it will pull the information in. It will give you all of your information on there. You put in your UK license details, and then you click submit. Now, after that, you then need to go down to the basically the centre where you physically go through an eye test. And you go through the remainder of the application process down there. Now, when I did mine, although everything is very slick over here, when I did mine, for some reason the digital ID was pulling in a mobile number that wasn't my mobile number, and every time I went to update it wasn't working. So they said, oh, you need to go down to the centre and have a chat with them there. And it was one of my first experiences of customer service with organisations, because back in the UK I was used to go here, fill this in, do that, do this, do that. Oh no, you need to go to this you need to go to this department, speak to this department, go back to this department, get this thing stamped, and it was just a mess with lots of bits and pieces in the UK. So I wondered how difficult it was going to be, in order of just amending that mobile number, considering that this government site was pulling in the wrong number. So I went into the building, spoke to the lady behind the desk. She said, so you just need to update the mobile number. She said, I'll just take a ticket and wait over there. So I sat in the waiting room, and I'm watching the people going up to the counter, and I'm thinking, okay, some of them are there quite a long while. I wonder, how, what this is going to be like. So I went up to the desk when I was called. It took about 15 minutes wait time, and then got called up to the desk, sat down with the lady, and she said, oh, okay. She said, we just need to update that on the system then, don't we? And I said, yeah, that's it. So she just said, okay, what's the mobile number? So she quickly put the mobile number in there. And she said, have you got your Emirates ID? So I gave her her Emirates ID, and she looked at it and she said, why you look so serious? and we both kind of laughed at that. And she said, okay, that's updated on the system. She said, you just need to go next door for your eye test, and and swap your license over. So I went next door, and they said, oh, have you had your eye test? So I said, no. They said, so go to the little booth there. So I went to this little booth, and you pay the equivalent of, I think it was about 25-30 pounds, something like that, for an eye test. Fairly basic eye test, and then she just put a note on the system there. She said, okay, pop back next door. I went back next door. Literally, I was in and out the eye test within about 5 minutes. Went next door into the other office. They look it up on the system to see that your eye test is done, and see that your Emirates ID and everything and UAE Pass matches. She said, have you got your UK licence? So I gave her my UK licence. She said, She said, if you wait over there, she said, somebody will be with you in a minute. And I thought, you know, okay, you know, she said, we're going to print your license for you. And, you know, my experience of of getting a driving license in the UK and sending it away was kind of 7 days, and I was expecting a long wait, and I thought, okay, here we go. And my backside hadn't hit the seat for more than about 5 minutes, and she called me up to the desk and she checked the licenses. She handed me the UAE driving license, and that was it. It was really, really quick, really painless, and yeah, it couldn't have been any easier, if I'm honest. So that's the positive side of changing your license over from a UK license to a Dubai license. Now, what a lot of people don't tell you is, if you're in that transition period between moving from the UK to Dubai, and you still have cars, you still have vehicles, you still have bits and pieces back home in the UK that you're using on occasion when you go back to the UK, there is a consequence, and it is quite an expensive consequence in the interim period while you're kind of moving over here and then getting rid of those vehicles. Because I rung up my insurance company when I got back to the UK, and I thought, oh, I better let them know that I've changed my driving licence for a UAE driving licence. And I rang the insurer and I said, you know, I'm just notifying you. They said, oh, just hold the line, sir. So I held the line for 2 or 3 minutes, longer than it took to actually get my licence in Dubai, I think it was. And they came back and they said, I'm sorry, sir, but we're going to have to cancel your insurance policy on all your vehicles. I was like, what? He said, yeah, we can't insure you on an international driving licence. I said, sorry. I said, I've had a UK licence for 28 years. You know, I've never had a claim, never had any issues. You know, what's going on? Sorry, sir, we can't insure you on a international driving licence. So they cancelled my insurance policy there and then. And I then started the process of looking around for an insurer that would insure my electric vehicle, my van and my truck, which proved to be incredibly expensive, and so much so that the EV, I was paying about £450 a year to insure the EV, and the insurance for the EV went from £450 to £7,700 for a year. So I made the decision to voluntarily terminate that vehicle, because it was actually cheaper on the finance to voluntarily terminate it and pay the few £1,000s to voluntarily terminate it than it was to even pay for 1 year insurance. The insurance on my van and my truck, I hadn't paid more than about £350, £400. Both of those insurance policies, on their own, they jumped to £3,000 and £4,000 respectively. And I then, fortunately, I had I've got a company back in the UK that, because they're commercial vehicles, I then took out a fleet insurance on both of those, which meant that those vehicles were insured under the company, and that was about £2,000 for the year, as opposed to, as I say, nearly 7,000 quid to insure a Transit van and a Ford Ranger. So yeah, the consequences are that the UK doesn't like it when you're doing anything international, or you're making that move. So just something to be very, very aware of, is that Dubai is going to make it very, very easy, and the UK is going to make it very, very difficult, which is part of the reason why we leave in the first place, isn't it? So yeah, hopefully this video is useful for some of you. If you are coming over here, you know, it gives you an idea of what to expect. If it's been useful, just drop me a like on the video. If you want to see me make any videos about any topics that you're curious about, drop me a comment, let me know. I'll make them for you. And if you like this sort of thing, then consider subscribing. If you don't, obviously don't. But yeah, thanks ever so much for your time and watching this. God bless. Cheers. Bye.